All right, Chelsea fans, we're back. We're going to be previewing Aston Villa, talking about Reece James and N'Golo Kante's injuries, and we're going to look ahead at the dev squad and women's team. It's a full weekend of Chelsea. We got everything coming at you next. All right, Chelsea fans, before I jump into it, I want to give a huge shout out. The St. Louis Blues sent me this super cool scarf. Just want to say thank you to you. You guys know who you are. Top quality scarf, by the way. It's got the St. Louis arch in the downtown skyline there. So I'm rocking this one for the weekend. They've got the fleur de lis, I believe, and then some nice detail. Blue in the Lou, Carefree STL. So look, if your supporters group has some cool stuff, I am happy. As you can see, I've got Austin and Georgia Blues behind me. I'm gonna have to start rotating because you guys are being super generous and sending me these really cool scarves and things. So I'll continue to showcase them as best I can. But why you're here is the Aston Villa match preview. That's right, Chelsea can be taking on Villa away at Villa at the weekend. For those of you who are big fans of the pod, we call this the Matt Law versus London is Blue Derby. He's a big Villa supporter, and he's always good fun talking about this with them. Chelsea in great form, obviously, unbeaten under Mr. Potter, who has decided to lean into James Bond rather than the Harry Potter memes, which I completely respect. And he had his pre-match press conference briefing. I always stumble across it. I'm so thrilled that I nailed it. And of course, firstly, the big thing discussed is that the reports coming out today from Adam Newson, Nisar, Matt Law, all of the friends of the pod, is that Reece James is less hopeful about his injury. So all of a sudden he needs to undergo scans. Potter confirmed he's going to see a specialist at the weekend, and that, you know, he wasn't going to comment on the rumors or the reporting from the reporters that he might miss the World Cup and need minor surgery. So again, he just said he's in some discomfort right now. There's no sense in speculating. We'll know definitively after the weekend, which is the same with the people we talk to that we know in, you know, around the club. Same thing. No firm answers right now. We have to wait and see how the scan goes. So not exactly what you want to hear, because as we know, Reece James, massively important for the team. I don't think he's going to play at the weekend anyways, but we're hoping it was a minor knock. Put Aspie in at right wing back, let Trevoh play right center back, you know, to cover for now Reece and Fofana out with injuries, and you move on. But it might not be that simple anymore, and we're going to have to see how Potter lines up to try to, instead of enforce his game plan on Villa, really now it's going to be, how do we make sure that the players we have in aren't, you know, being vulnerable? You think of Aspie Laqueta, you probably aren't going to put him in a back four. If you do, Trevoh next to him is okay because Trevoh has a ton of speed if they get him behind Aspie. But if you do a back three with Aspie as wing back, obviously we know he's going to have a lot more cover and protection, and then you'll have his ability to go forward. We saw against Wolves, Aspie was bombing up and down the line. The services were there all day. Crazy assist Pilaquates that didn't get on the assist sheet, but it happens, you know, and we'll have to see just how Potter tweaks some of that stuff. Then with N'Golo Kante, he said it's the same thing. He's going to go see a consultant at the weekend as well. It's definitely a setback, and Potter's not going to speculate on their World Cup chances, and realistically, it's not his problem. You know, the French national team are going to have to assess this, just like the English national team are going to have to assess Reece. But we do know that Kante is having a setback in his rehab, and again, his contract is up at the end of the season. I don't know where Chelsea are going to go with him. I'm most worried about him as a player getting back to his fitness and being able to do what he loves. The amount of injuries and how much he's been sidelined is concerning. And, you know, I don't think it's, you know, something that he's happy with, and it's definitely not something that Chelsea are happy with. So we have to find a solution very quickly. And then lastly, Wesley Fofana, he's progressing, right? He's going through the rehab process. They feel like he's good. But an interesting quote here, Potter says, I don't think we will see him before the World Cup in terms of playing for Chelsea. We didn't have a yardstick for Fofana. Now we finally have like this milestone of, we're not going to rush him. We just want him to rehab up until the World Cup. If he gets called up, great. If not, even better. Let's plan on seeing him post World Cup, and we see from there. So I think that's the first definitive update on his rehabilitation timeline that we've ever seen. Other than that, no suspensions. Kai Havertz is closest with 2 yellow cards, which is kind of funny. Think of some of the shithousery yellow cards that he's gotten, which is funny. So, and then on the Villa side, they're out with Lucas Digne, Diego Carlos, Jed Steer, Ludwig Augustinsson, and Boubacar Kamara. Leon Bailey's expected to return after minor muscle injury, which is always good. Anytime you're going into opponents that have injuries, especially now that we have injuries, it levels the playing field, and you take any advantage you possibly can get. Also on the kind of outline here, Chelsea, mixed bag against Villa over the last couple seasons, right? One last, in COVID, we beat them back in June. Then we drew at home. Then you lose at Villa Park. Then you win at home. Then you win away at Villa last December. It's, again, just kind of up and down with this team. They are in a terrible run right now, right? So, like, Steven Gerrard is on the brink of being sacked. Could a dominant win, another 2-3-0 win from Chelsea, be the straw that breaks the camel's back and get Stevie G sacked? We don't know. That's not our problem, but we are going out there to try to bury them as we do all of our opponents every single weekend. As you can see here, they just drew Nottingham Forest 1-1. Again, not considered a good result by anyone because Nottingham Forest is definitely towards the bottom of the league. They drew Leeds 0-0. Leeds have not been great since thrashing Chelsea. They beat Southampton, not great. The draw versus City is a big result for them, and it's really the difference between City being in first place and not, which I'm sure they find to be quite annoying. And then the team in first place for the time being, Arsenal, they lost 2-1. Nothing good coming from them. They're not even getting to 1 goal scored per match. Chelsea are continuing to climb from 1.3 to 1.6. They're conceding well over a goal, and our numbers actually going down, which is good. As you can see with the, we haven't conceded. The big Southampton was struggles, but we haven't conceded in our last 3 matches, albeit 2 of them against Milan in the Champions League. And then, as you can see, as far as where they are, Aston Villa are in 16th place, Chelsea in 4, which is exactly where we want to be at the top of the table, knocking around in the top 4. Arsenal are playing Leeds. You'd expect them to get full points. The big one here is Man City, Liverpool. Can Liverpool do anything of note to try to disrupt this Man City train, or are they just going to continue to roll over? Tottenham playing Everton, which you expect them to win on that one. And then, like I said, we have Chelsea versus Villa. United playing Newcastle. Newcastle could easily take points off them because they're between 5th and 6th. So this is a good weekend for us to make up ground on our rivals and definitely create a little bit of separation. Going to 19th points would be massive, especially with the game in hand that could take us to 22 if all's done. So yeah, I think the way I look at it, really, really good opportunity for Graham Potter to go in and smash up Villa, send Stevie G packing, and then, make up ground on the rivals. Lastly, the referees here, Robert Jones, whatever. I mean, you're going to get the JV refs when you play JV teams as far as I'm concerned. So, expect it to be pretty sloppy because obviously why else would you expect anything different? So anyways, we're going to do lineups and stuff over the weekend, nothing today, because instead I want to pivot to the women's team and the dev squad. That's right. We have 2 more matches coming this weekend for Chelsea, and we'd be crazy not to cover them. So let's go ahead and pivot over to the women. All right, let's look ahead at the women's team. They're going to be taking on Everton, and actually a bit of sad news, in all honesty, is that Emma Hayes has announced that she had undergone emergency surgery recently, which is sad to hear. But obviously we know that she's in good care. She's posted, so she's doing much, much better, which is really, really good to hear. And just, makes everything around the club better. If we look at her statement here, she said, last Tuesday, I underwent an emergency hysterectomy following my ongoing battle with endometriosis. I'm now in recovery and will need time and patience to return to full health. She thanks her doctors. She thanks the owners and the board and HR for the support they've given her, showing that the club are fully backing her through this tough time. She says that Denise Reddy will be making the on-field decisions along with Paul Green. who are going to be taking on press obligations and carrying on the team. So she has her trusted, generals with her. They talked about how they built a tremendous team. She's been at the club for so long. She's so strong in sharing these types of things with everybody when we really have no right to know a lot of what's going on in her personal life. Obviously, she's had, some challenges with her twins and things, which is so sad. But again, Emma Hayes, we are with you fully. And we're not going to have the gaffer on the touchline this weekend, which is sad. But we are taking on Everton. If you want to watch it, there's the FA player. As you can see here, there's a little button for it. There's an app. You can watch it anywhere you want. It's free account. Go sign up, get it. As we can see, versus Everton women, we have a really good record against them, winning 3-0 away, winning 4-0 at home, 3-0 at home. We're in fourth, they're in fifth, which is a little bit interesting. If you haven't been following the women's team, it's been a little tricky. And if you haven't, go do it. We've got a podcast dedicated to them, Blue Royalty with Jesse, Abdullah, and Nick. It is great. You will love it. And like I said, we need to just look at what's kind of the new talking lines with this. And actually, I went ahead and pinged Jesse, great friend of the pod, and said, what's the big talking point for the women? Like, what should I put out there in the world to everybody? And it's funny, Ishan and Jesse both responded with the exact same talking point, which it's relevant and it's big. Here it is. Pernilla Harder is back. She hasn't played for Chelsea this season, but played for Denmark over the international break. Not really sure how many minutes. And Jesse doubled down saying the return of Pernilla to the squad is big. If you don't know, Pernilla Harder is one of the best footballers in the world. We've missed her this season, and we're so excited to have her back. Again, having one of your best attackers return is going to help make up the points in the gap that we have in the hunt for another FA WSL title, which is super strong from them. We need it. We expect trophies out of them because they are absolutely phenomenal. The other match, though, at the weekend is the Dev Squad. So as you guys know, I went to Phil, right, at Chelsea Youth. I said, Phil, what's going on? We're playing United at the weekend. He's planning on being there, right? It's going to be at the home ground, which is Kingsmeadow for the academy. And he gave me some talking points here as well. It's the only match on Saturday. Both the men and women play Sunday. So this is perfect for you to go and watch and take on. And he gave me a nice little rundown on exactly what we should be looking at for this. As you can see, Chelsea, 2 wins, 3 draws, unbeaten in 5, albeit we need more points out of some of those results. Again, Phil and I do an academy review once a month called the Cobham Crew. It's on our podcast feed. If you're missing out on all this content, that's on you. Go check it out. Link in the description. We're undefeated in 5, but we're in 7th place, which is not where this team wants to be. Top 4 minimum. United, on the other hand, are winless in their last 5. Having drawn 4 and lost 1, they are in 12. So this is from Phil, straight from him. He said the Dev Squad are unbeaten in 5 domestic games, ignoring the UEFA Youth League, which we did not go well against Milan either leg. And United haven't won in the Premier League 2 at all this season. He says, but it'll be a tough game. Chelsea have the EFL trophy against Leyton Orient on Tuesday to factor in as well. So again, if you don't know about the academy, between the 18s, the 19s, which is the UEFA Youth League, and the Dev Squad, which went from U23 to U21 this season, they have many, many matches to juggle, just like the men's first team. So they are trading, shuffling players from U17 to 19 to 18 to 18s to the Dev Squad to the first team. It is a lot for them to manage, and players have to manage their minutes. So he's saying, well, albeit nice to be able to play United, they just played midweek against Milan, and then they have to turn on and play midweek again against Leyton Orient, a men's team in the EFL Trophy. There's a lot to take in. It's not cut and dry. He says that Chelsea have drawn 3 of 8 in the PL2, United 5 of 8, so a draw would be the favorite result on paper. But obviously he, as well as the rest of us, will be pulling for all 3 points in the win. And that's exactly what we are expecting from this team. Again, United's academy is not good. It is not the same when you had all of the likes of Beckham and Neville and Scholes and Giggs and all those guys coming through. What was it, like the class of 99 or 92, whatever? I don't know. I don't care. Not my club, not my problem. So Chelsea, dominant academy, need to get back up to the top with the dev squad, winning trophies, just like we've seen with them in the past. So look, full weekend of content. Reece, hope he's good. Kante, hope it's not too bad. We got an update on Fofana. Let me know what you think is going to happen this weekend. 3 matches, 3 wins. I think it's very likely, it's very probable that that happens. Again, men's, women's, youth. If you want to get to know all of the teams, London is Blue has you covered. We literally have podcasts for every single team in the club. Men's, women's, academy. We just launched a history podcast with the official historian of Chelsea Football Club, Rick Glanville. Him and Gary Barone have done an amazing job. They just dropped an episode today about Chelsea's first black captain, Paul Elliott. Go listen to that. Really interesting stories. The Tinkerman dropped this past week, which is a tactics podcast. Literally content oozing out of our ears. We're going to have Matt Law and Naz back as well this month. So subscribe to the podcast. Check out everything we have going on. YouTube is just an extension of all of that, which we love to do. Thank you for hanging out with us. Have a great weekend. Again, Dev Squad on Saturday, men and women on Sunday, fully packed weekend of Chelsea content. Soak it up. Enjoy it. On the hunt for 9 points. We'll be back Monday with another video. Take care.